Hey guys, it's Sam Avalone from Play. You're listening to the Digital Dice Podcast. Thanks for listening. No.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Digital to Dice Podcast. I am Dave, joined once again by my friend Vin. Vin, welcome back to the show.
Thank you again. It's good to be back and us rolling along again. And it's been kind of crazy a couple of weeks, right? With everything, life going on and the convention. Just so much preparation for different things. Games flying in from the mail. Crazy things.
Yeah. So you end up going to Canton. I couldn't get to Canton, so we're going to get a Canton wrap up from you here in the beginning of the show. But before we get to that, ways to get a hold of us, digitaltodice.com, digitaltodice.com is the website. 978-751-DICE is the text line. Send us a text, leave us a voice message over there, 978-751-DICE. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. This is episode 279, by the way. And the main segment here, the main topic, if you will, we're going to talk about pregame setup. And it's something we've touched upon in past episodes, but it's been a big topic here, especially on my tabletop and some of the videos I've done, as we're going to talk about pregame setup. How does that come into play when you're playing games on your table, specifically with the cards and dice, but it could pertain to PC too as well. Mm-hmm. So before we get to any of that there, we're going to have Vin wrap up Ken. Here we go. Alrighty, so you took the ride out there to Canton with some friends. Tell us about the ride out, the ride back, the journey, and everything that happened out there.
It was a blast, and I was nerved out before going. I don't know why, but I knew I was looking forward to meeting Mark Miller, our Jerry Kwan on Facebook, because I've known him as long as my daughter's been alive, 28 years, never met face-to-face. We've had numerous times we tried, and the last one was actually COVID that put a kibosh on it. So seeing him was great. He's a typical real character like I expected. The drive out there was great with Joe Cards and Phil Rhea. Those are my buds. Those guys have become like family in such a short time. Do you realize, Dave, I've only personally known them since the D2D convention.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Phil, I met there.
Wow.
Didn't even know him. Joe, we only chatted a little bit, maybe, I don't know, we'll say 5-6 months before that.
No kidding.
And now it's like open door, my home, their home. They slept over Thursday.
Fantastic. Thursday night. Nice.
It was so good. So the ride out there, I think you mentioned it too in the chat. It always goes faster when you have some people with you because you're just ripping each other apart, talking about everything from games to life. And it just wasn't a bad ride. It took us about 7 hours. Stopped once for gas and once for emergencies. The three, we're not young guys. But it was great. And we got there, the hotel, I thought was really good. A couple of issues with one of the night clerks putting us to bed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I heard that she shut out the lights on you guys in the lobby or something.
Oh, my gosh. I told them in the morning there was this one girl. She was a sweetheart from when I called Ed because I forgot to book one of the rooms for the extra day, but we just piled into one. She gave me an upgrade to a suite for $10 more.
Oh, wow.
I said, give me 2. But she was great. I didn't mind getting chased up to bed, but a lot of the people did. I was exhausted. But the Saturday, I wasn't even concerned with seeing the Hall of Fame. When they said you walked through it to get to the room, I didn't realize what they meant. I was blown away by it. Blown away. I mean, the memorabilia, all the players' busts.
Yeah.
Everything. And I kept telling everybody the work is, they must have thought I was nuts, but like Felix Unger, you've been there, right?
Yeah.
It's immaculate.
Yeah.
From the Hall of Fame itself, every spot, to the bathrooms, to the room we got. That stuff impresses me.
Yeah.
There was a gentleman, Gary, in there in the pro shop. You could stay with him all day. He had stories. He's been there so long. Pittsburgh Steelers fan telling us about all the guys he met, who were his favorite. It was awesome. And then again, the convention itself, there was a lot of gaming going on. Various games, of course. There was Breakaway. Of course, there was APA. There was Strat. There was Second Season. There was Cold Snap. I know I'm going to forget some. Matchup. I was helping ST show some people how to play Matchup. Scott Johnson, actually.
Nice. He
picked it up so fast. I was like, he might have picked it up faster than anybody I've taught it to.
It's not a difficult game. I started with just kind of basic, just kind of the matchup part, but then there's all these like specialty cards, and they're not difficult. I just haven't figured them out yet, but I know they're not difficult, but it's not a difficult game at all.
No. And he was locked in. It was really impressive. Good guy, just a gentle soul. There's so many other guys I met that if I start naming names and leave somebody out, I'm going to feel bad.
Yeah.
So all of you, thank you for even just that little conversation, the meals we had with everybody. George Caldish, you remember him?
Oh, I love George.
He's my man.
He's so awesome.
He went with us everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere. We all broke bread together. We sat together. And again, it was more about Phil got to play a lot, which I was really happy for. But me, I played a little bit. I played Joe that Memorial game in honor of his son. That was with season ticket. And the first night, Mark mentions to Keith that he brought the president. Mr. President, we have a problem game.
Yeah.
Keith, now I had like one eye closed. I was exhausted. Keith goes, we should play that right now. Well, that's what happened. Mark ran upstairs and we did it cooperatively, the three of us. That was fun. But, everybody was gaming. To me, I seemed like a lot of gaming. But D2D-Con did it too. Me, I felt more like I was conversing with everybody and taking it all in. I guess the biggest thing I came away with is they got me on APA now. And I bought the football game and 2 sets. And you know what? I couldn't get through. Remember, I was texting you. It was my credit card. They kept flagging me.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
A couple other people had issues with that, too, because that's a brand new Apple website. And there was another guy that was having problems. And I ordered some hockey, and I went through without an issue.
So did Phil.
At all. Yeah, so some people haven't had issues. And
no, it was my card. They flagged me at the gas station.
Oh, jeepers.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
I'm wondering, that's the other thing, because when you sent me a message and says, I'm having trouble with the Apple website, or it was you or Joe, I says, I wonder if it's because you're trying to order from like a hotel room in a different state, that maybe that was it.
Nope. Customer service said, well, you did it 8 times in seconds. I said, well, here's the trick. If you didn't flag it the first time, this guy couldn't comprehend it. But whatever. Phil ordered it for me.
Oh, good.
This is what he did, a sneaky bugger. So I gave him the cash. I get home, I'm unloading everything. I get a beautiful letter, and the money was in there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was like, my wife was like, what's that? I was like, Phil.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. The Apple football, like I say, any questions? I'm not an expert by any means, but I have my own way of playing it, and I love it. I played it a couple weeks ago, and it's just so fun of a game. I'm not saying it's any better or any worse than any other football game out there, but for me, it just works. I like the APA game. I like to get a number, look at the chart, and have that decided, and I don't want to have to figure out anything else. Yeah. That style works for me, and I know it doesn't work for everyone, but that works for me. So it works with the hockey, works with the baseball, works with the football. I just think it's fun. We'll get into more APA football talk when we get into it.
Yeah, because it's going to lead into our subject.
Yeah, it'll lead into that, so we can talk more about that.
It wasn't just me. Phil ended up getting it.
Really?
Joe Cards ended up getting it. Said Jeff created 3 Musketeer monsters now. Because, once we start getting into stuff, it's like... So today
Now, that's going to be a fun game to play head-to-head. I don't, because I don't like to do that. I don't like to play anybody. But you guys always get together. You have these things I see all the time on Joe Card's Facebook group, the Cards and Dice group, and you guys are having almost like weekly get-togethers or whatever it is. So you guys will probably have some fun with that head-to-head. I can see that happening.
That was the deal breaker that made me just me and Phil, we played one half of the 2015 Super Bowl, and I'm like, man, this game is fun. And George was looking up the charts, sitting next to us.
It's easy. It's so easy. And I love how, you pick the run against you run or pass or long pass, whatever it is, inside, outside run, short pass, medium pass. If you get the advanced book or the master book, you can do screen passes and draws. So there's a handful of plays, and then there's different defenses. You get your ground defense for the run, your standard defense, and then you get your pass defense, and you're trying to, each one has a slot on the chart. And if the defense is playing ground against the run, you're going to gain less yardage. If they're playing pass against the run, you're going to gain more. And that's the fun of it. Those charts, they cover different parts of the field. They cover the different defensive structure, and they go by the A, B, and C, which is the I forget what they call that now in the game, but it's kind of like the defensive rating on the play. Obviously, A is better for offense, B is middle, C is better for defense. So you have all these factors that go in, and that's where you read off the chart. So you have so many different outcomes that are possible on a play, and to me, that's what makes it fun. It's not a standard static game. On any play, you don't know what the result's going to be because it really all depends on what the defense is playing and that. So.
Phil had so much fun with it too. So, that wasn't the best part that I came with, but it was just funny that he came away with a game I had never, ever played before. I believe I might have rolled it a couple of times when I was about 12. My brother had a copy of it. I never played a game of it. Phil loved it because he felt like he absorbed it a lot easier than any other football game, which I was surprised. So, we're stoked. We're looking forward to it.
Once you start, the setup is tough, and we'll talk about that in the topic of the show. I don't want to say tough, but it can be involved. But once you start rolling it just rolls, and there's no stopping it. And whether it's a penalty or whether it's this or a turnover, everything is there in the chart. And you just read what the dice roll is, and it's very similar to second season. If you played second season, it's similar to that, except that instead of is this person rated whatever, you're getting a number off a card is what it is.
Right.
But going to the charts is kind of the same type of thing. So they're very similar. But yeah, so I'm glad you guys at least got to play it. I played last year with ST, the first time I met ST, and he's like, show me Apple football. So we took 76. I had the Patriots and the Buccaneers from 76. He's got the 76 Buccaneers. He goes, I'll play the Buccaneers. Okay. He was winning. I think he was winning like 9-0 over the 76 Patriots. It was just a crazy set of situations where, Grogan threw a interception. And so he had the ball. I think he had it like first and goal on the 9, and he went backwards 10 yards and then kicked a field goal. And then there was a fumble by the Patriots, and he ran it in from 3 yards out. But it was like his net offense was like minus 14. And he was winning 9-0 because that's how bad it was. And we're laughing about Jeepers Creepers. This is nuts, that New England just can't do anything right, and neither can Tampa Bay. But they had the ball so deep in New England territory they couldn't. They were tripping into the end zone by accident, So I remember playing ST and having fun with that game, and he was like, yeah, I can see how this could be fun. So I
definitely can. I definitely can.
It's a super super fun game, and I saw Joe Cards picked up the Apple Hockey. Or
somebody gifted it to him.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, we were messing with him. We were like, so now we started calling him May because everybody was giving him gifts. I'm like, I know you're from Brooklyn, but these people are handing you tribute. What is this?
Yeah. That's another fun one too. That was on my table a couple times this week. I played a game from the 81-82 co-op group that we're in, and I played with Appa. One of the games I played was Appa, and the other game was Hockey Bones. And so, and they're longer play games, but yeah, they're fun. They're fun. I got, like I said, I have some more hockey coming in from Appa that I got. I wanted to test out the new website, so
cool. I didn't see a problem with it.
It's a little different. It's a little, well, in ways I was used to the old site, but this works out fine. What I did like about it is you have to actually, to get the team rosters, which you do need the team rosters for the hockey game, so you can get the bench minor ratings and the penalty ratings, and if so choose, you play with that in the game, which I suggest you do, and they're free. But before, you could just go on there and look at them and print them out. Now you have to put them in the cart.
Yeah.
And check. So I'm like, oh boy, how's this going to work? So there was a couple that I wanted to get, and I was like, well, let me check this out. So I put in 2 of the season rosters, which was free. There was 0, 0, 0, and I put them in the cart. And I says, I wonder if I check out what it's going to do. And it checked me out without even putting in a credit card, and it just here's the download. So yeah, they were free, so I didn't need to jump through any hoops or anything. I was signed in, so maybe that was part of it. But yeah, I was able to put those in the cart and download them for free, and there was no, sometimes when you order something for free, you still got to go through the whole process.
Yeah.
And then but you're not charged anything. Nope, that worked out really nice. So I got to say I was pretty happy with that.
Clay does that with season ticket football. It's seamless when you want the free,
Yeah.
He offers the free. Yeah. So, the other one we had fun with was Michael Gambrell.
Oh, Mike Gibril?
Gibril?
Yeah.
Okay.
The family football?
What a guy. First of all, we had a blast. He even came to eat with us on the last night, Sunday night. And we played family football.
Yeah, that's a fun. That's easy.
What a fun game.
Yeah.
He did the ref version.
The ref ball where it's like weird calls or something.
That's it.
Yeah.
It was like, you want to use it? I said, well, if it's an addition, we got to see what it does. I could never see playing without it. It was so much fun. And again, he's such a good guy.
Yeah, Mike's a great guy. He had the he had the TV in the corner. He was doing the pro strategy football at Connecticut.
Yes,
Yeah.
Because Joe asked where he remembered him from. I said, yeah, he did the whole pro strategy.
Yes.
So it was really good, really good. The last night we had dinner, it was, I don't know, about 10 of us. Went to the place right near the Hall of Fame. You could walk over to it. Just that bonding stuff is just...
Yeah, when I got there last year, Michael and I drove out. We were pretty tired, so I don't know if we sat right down, if we took a nap. I forget what we did. We had a long ride. And we went in, and there was a whole bunch of people at the hotel restaurant that we were at, wherever we were at last year. And, there was some familiar faces. Jeff was there, so I got to meet Jeff. And I think Al Wilson was there. And there was a couple other people that I remembered from, like, YouTube and stuff that I'd never met, because I've never gone to one of these things last year. And we sat at a table with 4 or 5 guys. I didn't know who they were. And we just started chatting. And next thing you know, like, the 5 of us kind of like hung out all weekend. And it was just a good time. We went out to dinner. We did that. We sat and played in the room. But it was just, again, and that's kind of what happened in Connecticut. I showed him Connecticut, and I was starving, right? And so I was calling Mike. I said, Mike, I'm starving. So he's like, all right. He goes, as soon as you get here, drop your stuff off, and we'll go to Foxwoods and get something to eat. So me, him, and I think it was Steve Tower, we go to get in the car. And this dude shows up, like he just showed up and got out of his car. I was like, "You here for D to D?" He's like, "Yeah." We're going out to lunch. Want to go? Yeah. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this guy is. And so the 4 of us we got over it. It turns out it was Ryan.
Oh, my boy Ryan.
And again, I didn't know who he was. I said, "You here for D to D?" He's like, "Yeah." No, he knew who I was, but I didn't know who he was. So he jumped in the car. I'm like, I'm hoping he's here for D to D, because otherwise he's coming to lunch one way or another.
He's going to learn about gaming too.
So that's the fun part of it. Sometimes just sitting with people and just kind of chatting, and sometimes I remember your name from this, or I remember your name from that, or I seen your name here, or oh yeah, you play this or this and that. So yeah, sometimes it's just fun, talking and discovering new games. It's so easy to judge a game from a YouTube video or a post or whatever, but when you sit at the table and someone's playing it, sometimes it's a whole different way of looking at a game. And bank shot basketball, when I saw that being played, I think it was Joe Joe Costa, maybe, I forget now.
I think that's who you saw play. I saw James Hart playing it.
James Hart, it was either Joe or James. They were playing it, and I was like, wow, this is like really easy. And I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought it was much more difficult. And so he was showing me and Dave Little how to play it. It's like, wow, that was awesome. I'm getting it, you know. Yeah. And I wouldn't have unless I played it, really. You know, and then when I played the 49 highlight hockey with Grant out in Colorado, I was playing. I was like, this is not what I thought at all. I really thought that this was some kind of a punch card type computer game, looking at the setup. And it took me once or twice to get used to what the setup was. But after that, it's like it was all done with the fast action cards. And it was beautiful, you know. So sometimes when you actually see a game being played, even if it's something you're not interested in, now that I see it firsthand, it's really not too bad. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, the one I regret, I was talking to Jamie, he called me this morning, was I told him I got to see a little bit, but I didn't sit there enough. But you could see how after a full game you are burnt out, was Breakaway. Holy
well, now last year Breakaway is the one I didn't get to because the table was packed. Every time I went over there, the guys were jam-packed, either playing or showing it off, and I never got a chance to sit down and play it, you know, because, I mean, I was doing my own broadcasting and playing my own things, but every time I went over there, I was like 3 deep at the table, and I was like, if they're there next year, I'll have to sit down. I mean, obviously I didn't make it, but, that's one that I didn't get to either because the table was just packed with people.
You better know your stuff. I mean, just a little bit I saw, it's like, wow. And I know James Cast had talked about it with Joe on his podcast that they're in a league. You better prepare. Like, I better know your team.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
In and out. And I better know my own. And I mean, it's deep. I was joking with everybody. I think Arthur rented out a condominium because he had more tables. It was spread out so wide. But he had a different sets that he sells. And the game was there.
Yeah.
And it was constantly 2 people playing, at least 2 people at the table. I'd like to get to see it again, but I'm not a fictional name team, even though they're real teams.
Yeah.
But the game engine is deep.
Fantastic.
So it was great.
So all in all, a good time out in Canton, huh?
I can't wait for next year. Those are my 2.
Yeah, I'm hoping things will be better for me next year with work and family and all that other stuff, and I'll be able to take the ride, and hopefully I can make sure the planes are grounded so Mike has to drive next year.
Well, I hope so, because you were definitely missed. Believe me, I'm not just saying it. You were definitely missed.
I appreciate that. It's good to hear, and I heard good things from the dribs and drabs that come in from people that it was a good time and everyone had fun. So that was good to see. All righty, so we're going to skip to what we're playing this week because we wanted to get the update from Canton. So why don't we get into our topic, which is going to be pre-game setup. Here we go. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I wanted to talk about this today, Vin, and we've talked about it. Ron and I done a couple of shows and kind of touched on this, but two big reasons. One is the 49 highlight hockey, 49 quick decks hockey too, if you will. How Grant has set that game up to where you can get the Excel files of the teams because it's a team sheet, and if you want, you can swap players in and out, and you can create an as-played lineup. You can create a favorite lineup. I know PJet, when I was playing one time, says, these lines are wrong, okay? This guy played with this guy, and that's where you can go in and fix that. If you know the line, now I don't even know the lines. I don't, maybe some of the Bruins back in the day, but I couldn't tell you, who Gretzky played with or Lemieux. I just don't know that. Who Yvon Lambert played with on the Canadiens. I don't know the line, so I'm just going by what he gave me, and I'm going to just trust that those are the best guys. But if you do know, or if you want to mix it up, you have the ability to go into the Excel spreadsheet and change the lines as you see fit. And I was doing that for a lot of my as played. I would find a game and I would go in, and it would take me, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes a team as I started to get better at moving guys around to set it up and print it out, and then do the front and back. I would print out the regular, and then the backside would be the special teams, power play and shorthanded. And then what I like to do is drop the goalies on there too. So I would make sure the goalies are on the page. So that way I don't have to worry about the goalie cards. They're on the page. And so I spent a lot of time with that. setting it up. So instead of just grabbing the stock teams, I really took my time. I put logos on there and things like that. I dressed it up really nice. And so that was kind of part of the pregame setup with that. And it took some time to do that, but it made the game like so much better because I did that. So now I know what the game I'm playing, those are the guys that are in the game. I like to play as close to as played as possible. And I have that ability with this game now, with the Excel. The trade-off being that I can't just jump into a game. I need to spend the time to do that.
But you enjoy it.
Immensely. Yeah.
Right.
Immensely.
Right.
Yeah.
Setup should be fun too, Setup should be a lot of fun. It should be, that's the first part of the fun. Then there's the gaming. And then if you're keeping stats, that should be fun too. Let's see who did what, especially if you're blowing through a game and you're just writing down every play with football. Wow. Now let me see what Walter Payton totaled. Let me see what so-and-so did. I think, gaming is 3 sections of fun of different types. Setup can be... we're talking APA football, right? The setup in that game takes a while. But as you know, I'm the type of guy that likes to investigate every card. So especially that I'm just learning the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a blast just looking at all the ratings.
Now,
finding out.
I did, like I said, the APA hockey game the other day. I played the... Ironically, it was the Colorado Rockies at the Boston Bruins. Colorado beat the Bruins, by the way. Colorado was a terrible team in 81-82. I think that was their last year. They went into Boston and beat them.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was kind of funny how that happened. I couldn't believe it. It was a close game. I think it was like, 3-2 or 4-2 with an empty net goal, something like that. But it took me a while because I took out my 2 teams. I took out Boston, Colorado, and I went into Hockey Reference, the website, which I'm there like 1,000 times a day. Sometimes I just look. Me and Ron used to call that our adult website, the Hockey Reference and the Football Reference page. And I went to that game, and I went through and I sorted out all my guys of who played in the game for Colorado, who played for Boston, make sure I got the right goalies. Sometimes with APA, as you know, with the baseball, or maybe you don't know, you got to go rob a guy from another team. Because it's the end of the season roster that APA gives you that's carded. Okay. So if this was an early season game, there might be somebody that's on a different team at the end of the season. So I might have to go to Detroit and pick out a guy or, wherever and say, okay, well, this guy's not on the Bruins right now. He was later, or vice versa. So I'm going to have to go and pluck him off another team and put him in. And so, but it took me a while to set it up. And then I got to try to figure out what my lines are. Sometimes I go by the sheet that APA has, and sometimes I look at the minutes. And even in Hockey Bones, it was the same way. I'm playing a game of Hockey Bones right now, and I'm playing Washington-Pittsburgh from 81-82. I know about 3 guys in this game. It's 2 teams I just don't really know. Okay. But I love those odd games. I do. That's why I picked those when I played the games here. And so I'm not knowing any of these guys, so I don't know what the lineups are. So I get my Bones cards out and I sort them out and I see who's playing. I had to steal a couple of guys from the generic roster, if you will, and then now I got to figure out what lines they are. But it took me 15 to 20 minutes to set up these hockey games. But when I'm done, I have everybody that was in the game. I have them at the position I think they played at, and I have my lines all set. And now I can get into the game and not have to worry about it because I did all that prep work for the game. And so now it seems like almost the more prep work you put in, I mean, within reason, the more you can potentially get out of the game.
I can see that. How many people we read about and hear about that before they embark on a season replay? They start researching player after player after player,
oh my
especially
gosh.
if they don't know them. And they come walking out of there with like such a knowledge of the player's life and the season and even afterwards his career. And that's a bonus, I think, for sports lovers like us. It's, another way to go about it.
Now, Ogard 62, right? He's got a terrific website. I think it's ogod62.net or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
He does the app of football. His prep for a season, because he does season replays, right? His prep for a season is ridiculous. He's got it all lined up. He's got this laid out and that laid out. I couldn't even get into what he does for his prep, but I've seen some of it, and we had him on the show one time with Jeff, and he was talking about Apple football and how he picks a season and he does all his research. So I don't know how many days or weeks he sets up his play, and then when he sits down to play the game, everything is ready to go. So it's like all the setup, all the guys in the game, who's how many times he's going to throw to it, this guy, and who's running the most. He's got it all set up, tendencies, and I think he even puts it into a spreadsheet. So every now and then he puts up a video on YouTube, and it'll show him clicking on an Excel spreadsheet. It's like, okay, this is going to be a short pass, and it's going to be, Tarkenton throwing to whoever, Ahmad Rashad or whoever it is, and it's all set up on there, and the defense comes up, and so everything is all plugged in, whether it's on paper or on the computer. The amount of work that he does to prep a season is insane, but once he's all done, he just starts playing and just enjoys it, and it is so cool. And then he does the recaps up on Delphi, and he posts the score and a little blurb about the game, and it feels like you're reading like the top page of Sports Illustrated or something like that.
Nice. And that's not work, Tim. No, that's absolutely 150% outright fun.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing to think about, too, is for me with baseball, I tend to be pretty lazy with my baseball when I get my lineups. In fact, I like to, as much as possible, go to DigiDugout, DIGI, dugout.com. And from there, you can go back and pretty much pick any game, within reason, going back so many years, and get the lineup and print out a score sheet, a pre-printed score sheet with the lineup.
That's insane, really.
And so I've saved so much time by going there and just playing a game and printing out the roster. And from there, there's little boxes that you can fill out, defense and speed and, arm and all that stuff. I don't usually do that. And so as part of my pregame setup for baseball, I just print out the roster. I might put the catcher's arm on there for stealing purposes. Mm-hmm. But if I were to fill that roster out for baseball and put in everybody's rating, it would take me some time. There's 18 guys, or maybe even 20 if you got the designated hitter, and you got to put in their speed and the arm and all this other stuff you got to put in. But once you do that, during the game, if it says you need to check the shortstop, whatever, or check the guy on first, check his speed because he's running, it's all right there on the score sheet.
Yeah.
The way I play it, because I don't, now I got to dig out the physical card, look on the card to see what number I'm looking for, and it takes more time to start flicking through cards. Whereas if I took that time in the beginning, on the prep, if you will, the pregame prep, everything's right there at my fingertips. I never have to do that.
I do with payoff pitch. I put all those numbers in on Joe's score sheets, which I use. I like them. But a lot of games I don't. I'll just go through the card.
Yeah.
But I like the way, with payoff pitch, how he has the score sheet, has it, and you can pop them in there, and there's a lot of things you don't have to look up.
Yeah. And I guess it all depends. It's kind of a crapshoot, because I remember with season ticket baseball, right? The players in their defensive role, their primary position is listed on the defensive checks. So the 5-0 whatever, yes. The 5-0, 1 to 5-0-9.
It starts from 5-1 to 5-9.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's what it is. But if, let's just say Carl Yastrzemski was in left field and first base was his primary position, now you have to go to page 13 and do some figuring if it's hit to him in left field, because his ratings for the hit are not not on the card because it's the primary position only.
Right.
So you need to go in and then look at the blue die and look at this chart in the rule book and say, okay, is it greater than this? Is it less than that? So there's a little bit of figuring out to do if he's not playing his primary position. So if you follow that now I remember ID Jester one time, what he would do is he would, list the guys in the game and he would like put in all their information. He would create these little charts for all the guys that were playing in the game. So if it was hit the Yaz in left field, his chart was all set, ready to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The only thing is, he spent a lot of time doing that, which would save him time during the game. But if there was never a defensive check for Yastrzemski, then you've done that work for nothing.
Right.
So there's the yin and the yang of that is his pregame setup was great because anybody that was out of position in that game, you never had to go and do any math. He did the math beforehand. The downside to that is if the ball was never hit to that guy, or if there was never a defensive check at that position, is what I should say, then all that work was unnecessary.
Yeah, I can see that too. So the plus with payoff pitches, they list all the positions.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Yeah,
Strat does that too. I don't know who else. I never played APA baseball. Do they do it?
Yes, yeah, they have ratings for the different positions they play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do. So payoff pitch, I'm looking at here. They have the ratings for all the positions they played. The R and the E, the range and the error.
Yeah, it's just very convenient.
Yeah, APA does too. Right below the name of the guy, it has all their positions and the ratings. So sometimes somebody will be rated a 3 here, but only a 2 here, and so it does cover all the positions, which is really good. So I do like that. But yeah, so that's what he would do, and I'd be like, well, that's good because you'll never have to worry about being stuck in game, taking time to do it. But the pregame setup was a lot more than, and the things you might never use that.
Yeah, you wonder how many times that happens.
Yeah, so if it happens, then you saved yourself a bunch of time. If it doesn't, well, then you spent the time and just But then again, if he keeps that chart with the Red Sox, then he never has to do it again. Once he figures out, because there's a little grid between which I think would be 570 to 579, because that would be left field for Yastrzemski. So once you figure out the grid, one time, that's it. The grid is done. So if you were to just kind of keep that as a note on your Yastrzemski card, then you don't have to never do that again. So it depends what you want to do. Let's tackle the elephant in the room, so to speak. Is the APA football setup the way that I set it up? Okay, it takes me a long time to set it up. And I the other day I tried to set it up quick. I said, look, I'm going to try to set this up as fast as I can, and it still wasn't very fast. It was still 10 to 15 minutes per team to set it up. And I was actually showing her, I think it was Phil was asking about, how do you set up APA football? So I did a video, and I said, I'm just going to set up one team, show you what I do. And it's going to look daunting because it's a lot to do. But I'm going to show you how I do it when I pick a game and I try to do an as-played game. So I did the video on it. And there were a couple of people in the chat room, and they were saying, because I was live, and they were like, wow, look at all this setup. This is unbelievable. I don't think I ever want to play a game with this much setup, and this is just way too much for me. And I'm like, yeah, it is a lot of setup. Okay? But when I'm done, I'm in for a good 2 to 3 hours of football, and everything's right here. You do need to get your defense, and you do need to get your offense, because you need to get those numbers. Okay, you need to get the total defense number and the total offense number, because that's going to determine what's going to happen on the play with the defense. So you need at minimum you need that. For me, I go to Football Reference and I see who's in the game. I take my team, I separate offense and defense. I start with the defense because it's a little easier. I find my 11 starters. If I got to go find someone from another team, then that's what I do. But I get my 11 starters. I put them in order according to what APA says, which is a little different than what's on Pro Football Reference. But it's kind of close, depending if you're playing a 3-4 or a 4-3.
Right.
And so now I have my D1 through D11 defense, and I keep that together. So now my starting defense is done. Okay? It takes me 5 minutes to do that. And then the offense is a little different. I tip my standard 11 on offense, and then I also go to see who else carried the ball and who else caught the ball.
Right.
And so I add those guys into the game. If it doesn't, let's just say there was only 3 running backs that carried the ball for whatever reason. I always think that a team has at least 2 halfbacks and 2 fullbacks in the game. That's kind of how I look at it. So I'll have to go in and find if I only have 3 backs that carried the ball, I go find a 4th guy to put in there. Mm-hmm. Just in case I play injuries and there's an injury, or right. I just want to mix it up, or maybe someone caught a pass out of the backfield and didn't run the ball, whatever. So I try to have 2 halfbacks and 2 fullbacks. So obviously the starters, and then I add in 2 more. Right. Sometimes I get crazy, and I'll click on the team on Football Reference and go to games played and see how many of these backs that didn't get a carry in this game might have played in the game. So if I get a guy that played 2 games, well, I'm not going to put him in. If I get a guy that played, 13 out of the 14, yeah, I'll put him in.
Yeah, and so especially it was used for blocking purposes.
Yeah, and it's not a perfect as play because I don't know exactly who was in the game that didn't get any stats. It's not like hockey where they keep time on ice or, like that. So there's people that might have played in the game that didn't touch the ball at all. There might have been a tight end that, just blocked the whole time. So I added in a few guys, and so I did my setup, and I said I like to keep my quarterback here, my running backs here, and then everybody else is off to the side because I don't really need much from their card. So the more I need to look at your card and look at the numbers, the closer you are to the center of my table. Right. It's kind of what I did. And, right. The offensive line is in the backfield. Do I need to look at the card sometimes for a fumble recovery? Yeah, I do. More than I thought I would, actually.
But I like that because now I don't feel like, because my whole complaint was, why are they selling these guys? Why are you paying for extra cards? Why can't they just do this? Well, yeah, guess what? They can use their cards on a fumble recovery, on a fumble return. Backup lineman could come in if a guy's injured, change the whole structure of a line.
I got to say, in the beginning, when I started playing the Apple football, or looking into the Apple football, before I even had it, we had John on. And he was talking about it, and we said, why don't you just do defensive sheets? It'll save money on the season, and we don't really need it. Or offensive line sheets, because most of those cards are exactly the same, and this and that. And he said we tried it, and people didn't like it. And I was like, well, it still would be a nice option. I still think it would be a nice option if you could offer a season for a lot less money and just offer a lot less cards, and have your linemen and even your defensive backs, anybody that didn't like return a kick or anything like that, so you don't need to roll off of their card. Just have a generic card for them. That might be good enough. I still think that should be an option.
I agree. Okay, it would work for people.
However, once I got my first football set in, and you get the cards in your hand, even if it's an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, you might never really flip that card over. It still is pretty cool having that card. It just is, and that's one of the few games I can say that I really like having all the cards. I really do. Right. And I was surprised that now how I handle fumbles is a little bit different than some other people do. Anytime there's an interception or a fumble, I roll a decider die, okay? And that'll determine if there's a return on the fumble or the interception return. That's just kind of how I do it. And I know that on the advanced ratings on the cards, it tells you who can and can't return fumbles and interceptions depending on what happened that season, okay? I don't like being limited to what happened that season. Even though I like an as played, I think anything should happen. I think anybody can score a goal in hockey. Anybody should be able to hit a home run in baseball, even if they didn't. I think the possibility needs to be there. Okay. That's just kind of how I do. So with a football, I mean, how many times do you see the defense trying to pick it up and run with it? All the time, right? Every interception, they're trying to return it. Now, are some interceptions like diving catches? Yes, they are. So I rolled the decider die to see if there's going to be a return on that. That being said, there was a time where I think it was the Patriots I was playing. The quarterback was hit in the end zone and fumbled the ball. And it was fumbled, I think it was like 1 yard inside the goal line. Okay? It was recovered by the offensive lineman. So I rolled the decider die, and it said yes on the return. Okay?
Oh boy.
And so I took the offensive lineman card out, and I rolled on his R column, and I went to the fumble return, and I think it said 1 yard or 2 yards. It was just enough to get it out of the end zone and avoid a safety. So
That's
it
great.
come into play. His card come into play,
Right.
and it avoided a safety. Again, some people might not play it that way, but that's how I play it. And I rolled the dice, and I got the return of just a yard or two, but it got it out of the end zone to avoid the safety. And so I'm surprised at how many times I actually do roll on the offensive lineman card, or even on a defensive card, as far as on a fumble or an interception or something like that. So I still roll on that. So I was originally for team chart cards instead of individual player cards. Once I got the individual player cards, I says, "Oh, it is kind of fun having the individual cards in your hand."
Yeah.
The option though, if you could, maybe cut the cards in half and just have a team card or a generic card or something like that for the linemen or for the seldom used guys, I think that should be an option. I know that's extra work and it's extra money, so it's easy to say because I'm not the one doing it.
Right.
But some people argued for that, and I can see how that might be an option too.
Yeah, there's people out there that would want that, so they don't have to deal with the whole setup and adding up. You have the team, their offensive line, the starters add up to whatever it is, 25, 20, whatever. And then you have the other subs. If this guy gets hurt, and a lot of people would find that just a lot easier to handle.
Yeah.
Me, when I was talking to a couple of guys playing, I think it was, I don't know if it was George or Jills, and I forget who it was, but they were like, I want to have a player in my hand. I want to have that Walter Payton in my hand.
Yeah.
And the thing I related to is I remember when Strat first came out, it was way after Bobby Orr retired. And I was like, wouldn't it be great? Now I'm a Canadians fan, but to have a Bobby Orr card in front of me on my table, because you feel like, you feel like he's there.
It's very personal. Compared to a team chart, a card with a person's name on it is so personal. Yes. And it really, there's a connection with that card. I mean, I ordered a season, I don't know if it was 07, 08 or 17, 18 for hockey, and I pulled out the Ovechkin card for Apple Hockey. And it was just like, all but 2 results were a single digit, which means just about everything was a shot on net. That card was impressive, and I'm glad I have that card, and it's kind of fun looking at that card. It so is. I ordered some 60s seasons that I'll unbox when they come in, maybe tomorrow, and Tony Esposito was on the Canadians, and I'm going to have that card. How cool is that? Wow. It's just things like that. So I can see how having the cards are very important. I don't want to get on that argument there. But what I'm getting at with the APA setup is it takes me a long time to set up APA, especially to do an as played. Now, if you just wanted to play a couple of teams, you could dig out the teams, find the best 5 linemen, find the best players, set them aside, and put all the extras. You just put them away. And now that team's set up, you never have to set them up again. You have the standard guys, you have the best guys, and that team is done. So it's not like you have to do it every single game. Right. That's the other thing is once you set up these football teams, once you pull them aside, if you keep them in the same stack, you're done. So the next game I play, I pull them out. I got Staubach and I got Dorsett and I got Newhouse all right here at the top. I don't have to go digging for them. Here's my offensive line that I put behind Staubach. My defense 11 guys are here. So I just take them out of the envelope and lay them on the table. So once you do it once, you're kind of done with it, with the APA. Yeah. But when my first game with the team that I haven't played before, there's a big setup with that.
Right.
I do like that being part of the gaming process, though.
Well, I tell you, I love going through cards. I love going through players' cards. I watched the difference between a veteran and a brand newbie with Phil and George. George was set up in no time. Phil had his spread. I think his team ended up like somewhere near New Jersey. You were in Canton, and he had his spread across the table.
Yeah.
And George started giving him tips, and he broke out another guy, but it wasn't the starter. And George says, no, you want to have 5 as your highest offensive line rating.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you want to get close. But George had his cards weren't spread out any more than my laptop here,
you got just the little stacks that you need, and you get right out. Yeah, you can really have a small footprint with that. I have a medium footprint. Again, I have my stands, the Victor Wenzel stands that I have. Oh, he was there, by the way. I wish I went to go talk to him.
He came out to eat with us too.
Good, yeah.
What a good guy.
Yeah, he does a good job making those 3D prints. As does Al Wilson, and So I have him, like I say, my defense is in one of his stands. Both defenses in stands off to the side. If I need them, they're right there. My offensive line, they're in the middle on stands. If I need them, they're there. But they don't need to be in front of me, and they don't need to be spread out. The only thing that I spread out are the running backs, because I need to get at the numbers on the cards. Even the wide receivers in Apple football, you're only looking at their rating, A, B, or C.
Right.
That's all you need. You don't really roll off of the wide receiver card unless it's a fumble return or something.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at that.
Yeah, that's just kind of how it's done. It's done all off the receiver rating affects the defense, and then you roll off the quarterback card and then look at the chart depending on what the defensive rating is. So, yeah, it's kind of weird that the receiver card doesn't come into play, but that's kind of how APA does. I mean, it's just kind of how that works. And
I'm just looking at it for it's just a different way to play, but I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
Immensely.
Yeah. So there's ways to set. So that's kind of how I set up. So Apple football is the longest game I play. It is the longest setup I play. But the more time I put into the setup and make it just right and get everything just right, now the game moves along because everything is where I need it to be. Everything's within arm's reach, but it's not clogging up everything in front of me. I don't have 42 cards spread out. Everything's in little stacks. I know where everything is. And the cards that I need to look at with my eyes, like my kickers and my returners, they're right here in front of me on the Victor Wenzel stand, so I can just roll and look at the card and not even have to grab it.
Yep. And so that's how George had it set up. I was able to just boom, 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 boom.
Yep. So, and the more you play, the more you'll get better. When I first started playing it, I was all over the place, and I was like, "Oh man, this ain't fun." But then I was like, "Wait, let me just put the cards on the table," and then you get to know, okay, these I need the most, these I need the least.
Right.
These I need a little bit. As long as I can see them on the table. They don't have to be fanned out so you see the full card. Sometimes you just need to see the name. Sometimes you don't need to see anything.
Phil had them spread out, and I think they had pads on.
Yeah, but that's how you do it when you first start. Right. Then you realize, okay, I don't need all this, and as long as I can get at this guy, I'm okay. So there's the big pregame setup with Apple football that turns some people off because you play a game like Second Season or Season Ticket Football or Solitaire Pro or anything like that. You just take the team sheets and you put them on a clipboard right in front of you here, or you put them on the table, and that's it. There's no setup at all.
Match up the same way.
Match up the same way.
Shuffling the cards.
Yep, matchup is the same way.
Card shuffler. I have that deck that Victor made me, but it's super quick.
Yep, and
super quick.
And that's the beauty of what we have going on here is, the other day I was playing, it's like, boy, I'm in a football mood. And I took out Season Ticket. There's no setup, but I just started playing, right?
Right.
And then I was like, I'm in a football mood. And I took out the Second Season, put it on the table, and I started playing that. And I was like, that's great. There's no setup. And I actually enjoyed it more than I did the last time I played it. I don't know what's different. I don't know what happened, but I remember the last time that I played Season Ticket, I struggled with it a bit, or I had some issues with it, or I don't know what my thing was with it, but I was like, I hadn't played it in a while, and I went back, and this time I played it right through, no issues. I was a little rusty on a few things, and there was some people in the chat room that were helping me out when I got stuck. But then it just made sense, and I played a full game, and I had a great time with it, and it was so much fun, and it was like, that was great. And then the other day, I wanted to play APA, and I took out the two teams, and I went to Football Reference, and I sat there for a half hour or so, setting up my two teams, which I'd probably be, a good quarter or almost, a half into a game of Second Season or Season Ticket Football, because there's no setup time. But by the time I was done setting up the game and I started playing the Apple football, I'm just rolling and looking at the charts, and the game just moved right along.
Nice.
And so I have the option of taking a team sheet or taking individual cards. And it's the same with the hockey games. I played a game of Apple Hockey the other night. That was great. I could just put whoever I wanted on the ice. Hockey Bones. I got all the guys. I could put whoever on the ice. Individual cards, right? And then I go to, Highlight Hockey or Quick Text Hockey, and it's a team sheet. Mm-hmm. So now I either play with the generic team sheet, which is nothing wrong with that. Right. But if I want to get into an as played, I got to go into Excel and spend my time pre-gaming in Excel to get that just right.
Right.
And, again, no wrong answer. It all depends what you want to do. But it's just fun that we have all these options as far as, what you want to play. Do you want a game you can just jump right into? Do you want to spend all this prep time? Do you want to put in all the ratings on the baseball lineup so you don't have to look at the individual cards ever? If you're checking on something. So those options are there. And then the whole PC stuff. When I play PC, especially the Action PC and stuff like that, I like to go in and change my colors around, and I like to put in the logos and things like that. Even Digital Diamond, which I use to I keep my stats right now. Okay, that's what I'm using to keep my stats when I'm playing cards and dice games. I went in and I changed a lot of the colors that they had. Nice. I didn't like the colors. And I think one time I went in and I think I made, almost like a hockey, I made the home teams white. And the visitors were their actual colors. But it took me a while to go and change all those colors. And I'm glad they let you do it. But I went and I jazzed it up on my PC. And that
Speaking of jazzed up in colors, you should have saw Mark Miller's first day. He was dressed Oakland A's. I thought he was the owner.
Oh, Charlie Finley walking in, yeah.
He had the A's cap.
That's
he had
fantastic.
the yellow button-down shirt, and he had green and yellow sneakers on. And Mark, like I said, I know him as long as my daughter's 28 years. I knew he was tall. I didn't know he was very big.
Really?
Like, tall. Yeah. I'll send you a picture when we hang up. But he's just... It was the best hug I've had in a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
Especially with the A's, especially when he's all dressed up.
It was great. When he walked in, I'm like,
yeah.
You're not an A's fan. He just laughed. And his laugh is so infectious. Oh, Dave, what a good man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. But yeah, so on the PC, even Action PC, especially the hockey, I go in and I fiddle with the logos and the colors. In fact, you might notice in the Action PC games now, I think they're still in there, is if you go into to the team section where you can change the colors and all this and that, you can swap the home and away colors now.
Yes.
So when you, especially with the hockey, they had
you could always do that. It was background, foreground.
Yeah, but so I suggested to Dave Cook, I think it was a year or two ago. I says, Dave, the hockey game, I'm playing the 70s, and the home teams are all dark, and the away teams are white. So when you look at the names on the screen, home is dark, away is white. Now that's how it is nowadays, and that's how it was before 1970. But everything I play from 70s and 80s and 90s all the way up to, 20, whatever it was, the home team was always white, and I like to do that. And I says, I have to manually go in and change all the backgrounds and all the colors to make this swap.
A lot of work.
I says, is there a way?
No way.
That you could just put a swap home and road button? And he said, and he put it in there. And
I never noticed that.
And so if you go into the team colors now, if you go into the team colors, I think he put it in there, and I don't know if it's in all of them now. I think it is. It might even be in the baseball and the football. But I was the one that suggested it. He goes, that doesn't sound too difficult. So if you go into the team colors now, there should be a button that says just swap home and road. And now the home team. So yeah, so that was something that, and that's the type of community that we have, is when you can go in and suggest something to somebody, and they will look. They'll tell you if they can do it or not, and a lot of times they will. They'll put it in the game,
right? Or whether or not it's worth it. And so, if it's not, don't get insulted.
Yeah, and they'll tell me that. So I can't do that, or I can do that. And he's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. And like half hour later, he's like, hey, check this out. So he sent me a new file for the game. I was like, son of a gun, that's all it was. So now instead of me going in and making sure all the home teams are white, I just go swap, and they're done. And so now, visually and aesthetically, I like to see the home teams in white because that's what I grew up watching. And so he did that, and he put it in there. I was the one that actually suggested the hockey replays. So after a goal, if you right-click, you can just watch the goal again. But it was like, I kind of like that. In Digital Diamond, and I'm not bragging here, I'm just saying that suggestions I've made to people in the community, they've taken seriously, which I like. In Digital Diamond, in the box with the batters, I says, boy, Mark, it'd be great if you could see what he did during the day. And he put it in. Nice. So now every time I play Digital Diamond and I'm logging in my stats and stuff, I look, when the batter comes up, Freddie Lynn, it tells you what he did at his at-bats.
Strat has that.
Yeah, and that's where I got it from. I think Action PC might too. And I says I really liked seeing that. I says I like seeing that when someone comes up to bat, that what they did during the day. Not that they're 0 for 1, 0 for 2, or 1 for 2. What did they do? And it'll say, like G6 or P3 or whatever it is that they did during the day.
I don't do that. It just tells you, he's 1 for 3, I believe, with a triple or something like that.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Not for each at bat. That's cool.
Yeah, so every time I go in there now and I see that, I know that was my suggestion, and I use it. I like that. That's a reference for me.
But I don't care what it's got to make you feel good too, knowing you put something out there and they do it. I think I would. And
well, it's just something that. And this is something I talked about in Colorado at the speech I gave. So someone asked me if I'd ever create a game. I says, I don't think I could, but I says, but I'm good at, doing the beta testing and suggesting things that I would like to see in the game. And so that's kind of what I do is I'd love to see this. And they put it in. Now my game is better. Because of it, So yes,
he's always been open-minded to everything.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's how you approach him. If you just go, this game sucks because it doesn't have this, But if you go, hey, do you ever think about this? Because I would use this, and so people have put stuff in games, and I'm not the only one. I imagine there's been a lot of suggestions in the community that goes into the game, but yeah, reaching out to these people, knowing that they're they're willing to respond and work with you, and if they can't do something, they usually tell you, geez, no, I can't do that because of this. Bummer. Okay, I get it, But the PC games, I like to dress those up when I can. The replay games are fun because they do it automatically. You just download the file and you're set to go. Although I got to say, I did the replay PC baseball, and I for some reason, I never put the codes in when I put them on this computer. So I put the codes in. I went to download the baseball files, and it wouldn't work. I'm emailing him, Pete, what's going on here? I can't get this to work. And he's just like, well, you should be able to do this, And so I'm sending him screenshots. He's like, yeah, that's all normal. I was like, well, I can't download the file. He's like, oh, just hit the download button. And so I was, but there was, when it come up that said it couldn't download automatically, there was a little button that said, download manually. And for some reason, it wasn't clicking because I thought I was getting an error message. So I'm like, oh boy, what's going on here? But when I went back, and when he said that's normal, just click on this, I went back and clicked on it. Yeah, I downloaded the file. I was like, oh,
the one game.
How did I miss that?
I do that because I'm not a graphics person. But for some reason, a replay is the one. I put the ballparks, the player photos.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
I don't know why, but that's the game that I do it for all of them. I think because it makes it so darn easy.
Yeah, it's all done automatically with that.
Yeah.
There's like Action PC and Digital Diamond. Those are the ones that you can really get in and manually put everything in. You can really, choose your logo and swap this out, and it's all done. But replay's done automatically, which is kind of nice too. It just takes all the hard work out of it. With Strat PC Baseball, I like to put the baseball cards in there. And I rework my strat, so I have the I don't know if it's the pitcher on the left and the batter on the right, whatever it is. It's I forget how it's set up now, but I was a Sports Time Machine. Mike sent me over the 75 or 76 cards, and I dropped them in because those are my favorite baseball cards as a kid. It was one of those years. I think it was 76 or 77, and so I put those in the game now. So now when I play Strat PC Baseball, the baseball cards come up, and that's what I remember as a kid.
Nice.
Those baseball cards. And so I can picture those guys. And I don't even think I have the right year in what I'm playing, but it doesn't matter because those are the cards I liked. So, whatever it is, like, so I got that set up in Strat PC Baseball too, and it's
and that's all setting up a game.
Yep.
And it's fun feel. I read Jamie's article with Mike Silver's insane sized replay. I didn't know he created all the ballpark images.
Oh wow!
For OOTP.
Oh wow!
I believe that's the game he's using for this, like, insane baseball bash, they're calling it.
Yep.
And but I said to Jamie, so he like got them? No, he created every one of them.
Wow.
That's a lot of work. But you know what? Knowing Mike, that had to be a blast for him.
Yeah.
You know, you do one, it's finished. Yeah, that's nice. We'll do that.
And there is the reward at this. So all the setup, no matter if it's on the PC or on the table or the as played or whatnot, the reward is when you sit down and play, you're fully immersed. Mm-hmm. And whether it's putting the logos on the screen for you, or like a lot of times you see logos on my table, I just print them out on little pieces of cardboard paper or whatever it is, a cardstock, and I just cut out little squares of the logo. That's all it is. They're nothing fancy. It's nothing I ordered. I just printed them and cut them up, and I put them on the table, and I use them for hockey and baseball and football. And you see them, on my streams on YouTube, and little things like that. The time it took me to go make that was not gaming time. It was prep time. Right. But that brings me joy when I put those logos on the table, and when people look at my stream, I think that they like seeing them too. It's like, hey, great, we got the logos on here. So all this extra time that we put in.
I even like the little visual numbers that you put up as a simple scoreboard. Like, I break your chops about it, but I think that's like simply cool.
Yeah, it's something to look at. Yeah, when I'm playing myself, I don't use them, obviously, but when I'm streaming, those
we know the score all the time.
Those are the numbers that Al Wilson sends out with his scoreboards.
I figured he came to Canton too.
He was there. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so, but his baseball one, it's great because you can put the men on the base, but sometimes it's a little too big for what I want. And so I'm like, something, I just want to put the cards down and have a nice simple stream tonight and not have to worry about showing everybody what's on base and whatever. So I just put the inning and the score. And that way there you can follow along if you're jumping in and jumping out like some people do. And sometimes I'll do that with a hockey too if I don't have the Excel spreadsheet going. That's part of the prep is printing things out to put on the table, or designing a mat that you use for the game or anything like that. So there's a lot of non-gaming time that goes into gaming, which makes your gaming experience better. Ron, sometimes when he plays different PC games, and he goes, I want to play right out of the box. I don't want to jazz it up at all. I just want to play the game and think I'm playing cards and dice rather than putting in all the logos and the whole bit. And that's how he plays.
I lean more towards that side.
He likes the stripped down version.
Colors, I do like adding colors.
Yep. So it depends what you want. But again, that's all stuff that comes out of your gaming time. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the comments were, look at all this time. I could be playing a game instead of setting up a game. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
And it's not for you.
Yeah, that's not a wrong statement,
Right.
It's what's worth it to you. And for me, when I'm done setting up, whatever it is I'm setting up, the more time I put into my prep or my setup, my gaming experience is going to be better because of it. And it's kind of looking at like Thanksgiving dinner. You don't whip up Thanksgiving dinner in 45 minutes. It's a lot of prep. My wife's done it. I've never done it because I usually was working or something, but I've helped my wife. I've watched my grandparents, my aunt and uncle, and there's 100 things going on, and they started 3 days ago getting ready for Thanksgiving. It's not like they woke up and going, let me start Thanksgiving. People are coming over in a couple hours. No. There's all the prep. It's reheating stuff. It's getting stuff ready to cook and having the stuff. So if you've ever done Thanksgiving dinner, but when it's done,
we used to have 25 to 35 people.
Yeah. When you're done, it's Thanksgiving dinner. It's not a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It's Thanksgiving dinner.
And I know you know this feeling, and many out there do. When the entire house is quiet, and I don't mean they're upstairs and not making noise. They're out of the house. My wife has my daughter out. they're going somewhere, and you know it's going to be a long time. Sharon says goes out with her girlfriend. I could play a game. I don't care how long it takes. I am so immersed in that game, hoping the phone's not going to ring, because I'm not answering it unless it's my wife. And I am locked in. And I used to love those days.
Yeah.
When I love that time. I love that time. It's just, it makes all the gaming so much more special.
I would rather.
How about before a season? What do you do? I still do pen and paper, my board games. I'll set up a sheet. I get a notebook. These are my standings. Or now I can't do full seasons. This is the series like I've been doing with highlights, replaying last year's playoffs. This sheet, that sheet, writing it down, the goalies. I love it. That's part of my setup. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird one. We're talking about games and less setup. Another one. Just Roy. I'm going to say his name wrong. Payet. Paetah. Smaller guy. Unbelievable. What a guy. He lives in Tennessee.
Yep.
He said he is hooked on express games. Hooked on them.
Yep.
There's no setup. You're bagging him out. He's getting to play as many games as he wants to play. He loves that. Like, kudos to him. The more you can get in, the more happiness it gives you. The more you get out of your gaming, your sports. Yeah.
Well, the way I see it is an hour of gaming is an hour of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you play 10 games or you play a half a game.
Right.
Are you having fun during that hour?
Right.
It's not a race. We're not, seeing who can play the most. It's, are you having fun? And sometimes those express games are great. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I love pulling out a game of highlight hockey or shootout or whatever it is and banging a game out in 25 minutes. And knowing that I can play a whole series because I can play a game in 25 minutes. I could do it in a night.
Mm-hmm.
Those are really nice. Or I want to see every shot on net and every save and every penalty, so I'm going to play, Aperol Hockey Bones or something like that.
Right.
Or even the Quick Decks hockey, if you will, now that that's in the rotation. Thank you so much, Grant, for another hockey game. But that's going to take me an hour and a half.
Right.
It just is. It's a half hour a period, sometimes more, because I take my time. I follow the shots. I try not to race through it because I want to enjoy it.
No, I'm not racing.
I was playing here last night, the game. I was playing the Hockey Bones, the Appa game. Shot, save, shots. Phil Meir was the goalie for the Colorado Rockies. Bruins were peppering him with shots, and he was making save at the save at the save. It's like, we just can't score on Phil Meir. We should have put 7 up. Instead, we got 2 or 3. And it was fun. Here's another shot. Okay, it goes to the right wing. Terry O'Reilly shot. Save Meir. It bounces across. At the point, it's, Ray Bork shot. Save Meir. Bounces in front. This guy gets it. Peter McNabb. Save Meir. It's just... And you can't replace that. You can't rush that. You can't rush it. You got to and savor that. And then he finally covers it up, and you're sitting there shaking your head. And I can picture myself at the Boston Garden going, "What's going on here? We're putting shots on net. Yeah, we just can't score." And that happens. And so, why would I want to rush that?
Right. And then you have people their post game setup of stats, like our friend Rabid Wolverine.
Yeah.
He won't play a game if it doesn't give you certain stuff.
Yeah.
Most stats.
Yep.
He don't like it because he wants stats for everything. And I just think that's fantastic if that's what you want to do. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of guys who match up college football. They'll keep track of the tackles.
Yeah.
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 I did it once. I think I've told the story before with Manti Te'o. I just wanted to see. And I was blown away by it, but you have that option. You could have the hits, quarterback hits.
Yep. I mean, in Apple hockey, on a block shot, you can roll to see who blocks a shot.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't. I never roll to see who blocks a shot. Not a big deal to me. I mean, because I don't keep that stat.
Right.
It's there if you want it.
It's a cool stat, but it's there.
It's there if you want it. And I like games that have that option, that if you want to use it, you can. If you don't, That's cool too. But again, the tackle, the Apple football, the newer cards, which I think are the cards they sell now, they have a quarterback sack rating. And so there's a way that you can kind of list all the guys that had a sack and roll to see who gets the sack.
Oh, see, that I like.
I've done that a few times. It just is like 4 or 5 guys on the defense that have a sack rating. So you kind of stack up all the numbers and come up with some kind of roll. And this guy has the most, and then this guy had the second, this guy had the third. So I did that once in a while. I would look at the top guys and roll a 20-sided die and try to figure it out. You can also do that with the receivers, because the receivers all have numbers. So you can actually roll dice and to see who he was going to go to on a pass.
Okay.
So some of those things are in there.
I love keeping sacks and interceptions. I do a matchup all the time.
Yeah. I think you can do it the same with the interceptions. The book will actually tell you in Apple who gets the interception, and I just stay with that is what I do. But if you wanted to, there's different games get deeper with different things depending on how much time you want to spend on it. So I don't rush my games. Like, ST Patrick says, he's the slowest gamer out there. Every time I talk to him, he's like, Dave, I take forever to play games, but it doesn't mean I enjoy them any less.
Right. I know he was talking. He hasn't even had a chance to play any. He's been so busy.
Yeah. Well, he's trying to get that basketball game out. He's trying to create some seasons for the football game, and
he's got a lot of pots of soup on his stove.
Jeebus, right? Yeah, and then he's got the cat that keeps knocking over his camera every time he tries to film.
Do you know how many cats he has?
I know he's got at least one.
Oh God.
3?
13.
No.
When he told me, I almost fainted.
No. So when him and his wife go away, like, what do they do?
I don't know. I think she comes home with a cat every month. They were walking into the hotel. I'm dying to meet her. Where's Jen? She's out front playing with the cats. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I said, don't you have enough?
It is addicting. If my wife had a way, we'd have 13 dogs. That's just the way it is, because every day she goes, oh, look at his dog. It needs to be rescued. Every day. I says, yeah, but here's the thing is every day you find a dog that needs to be rescued. We can have 365 dogs here. It's like, come on. And so she's like, if I ever hit the lottery, I'm going to go. Good. You hit the lottery, go buy a place and have all the dogs run around. You have my blessing. You do.
There you go.
But I just can't have them run around here. We got just one now, and she's a handful as it is. So, but anyway, so we're talking
work plus 13 cats.
Yes, 13 cats. Maybe you could create a game called 13 Cats. That'd be kind of fun.
Might have let it Keith.
Matchup cats. So anyway, so that's our discussion on pregame setup. We'd like to know your pregame setup. What do you do for a setup? Do you want a fast setup? Do you just want to grab a team sheet and get right into it? Or are you okay setting up lineups and putting in all the values in there for the players? If you have a card game with individual players, how much time do you go into that? We'd like to know, what is your pregame setup?
And I'd really love to know, so put them in that chat, please.
Put them in the comments, or send us an email, digitaldice@yahoo.com, or even on Facebook in the Facebook group, post in there. We want to know what your pregame setup is like. And are you afraid, or I don't want to say afraid, do you avoid the long setups? Would you want to just jump right into a game? Or are you okay taking a long time to set up for one game because that gives you more enjoyment? So we'd like to know that. All right, before we go, we got to get into our 3 stars of the week, because it's been a hot minute. I missed the 3 stars. We've done so many live shows and had guests on and things happening, but we want to get back to that. So, in no particular order here in episode 279, our number 3 star is Jerry Evanoff. Jerry, thank you so much for supporting the show. That means a lot to us. It really does. Our number 2 star, Rob Hinkle. Rob, thank you so much for being a supporter of the show.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Rob. And our number 1 star here in episode 279 is longtime supporter David Yamada. David, thank you so much. Again, thanks to everybody who keeps supporting the show to keep us going here through the thick and thin of the summer. So thank you so much as we get back to some regular podcasting, back to our regularly scheduled podcasting finally. So anyway, any final thoughts here, Vin, before we trail off?
No, I don't know why I got hit with Alan Fanecka, but no, he was there. He showed up.
Yeah, imagine that. Another Hall of Famer.
Oh, you see see the size of him?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
I'll send you the picture. He lost so much weight. He looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
I was texting my friend. He goes, "Who is that?" Because you can't recognize him.
Yeah.
He says, "Alan Finecca, blah, blah, blah." Just shake his hand. Well, he shook my elbow because his fingers came up that high. I think he had the biggest hands I've ever seen. And I've shook some hands.
Football players are huge. There was, I think it was Bill Lankaitis of the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, the guard.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I met him, and it's like grabbing a rack of bananas. I was like, oh, forget it. His hands are just monstrous. His legs were monstrous. Everything about him was just monstrous,
Well, what was really funny was James Hart. I was looking up to him like a god, and he had the little like McFarlane statues. And he asked Alan, and he's like, "Could you sign my statue?" And we were like, if I was close, I was going to tell Alan, sign him, because the joke was, "James, you're not much bigger than that statue." But he's such a good heart. He really is.
That's
I was
great.
so happy for him because he was like in second heaven.
Yeah,
So,
it's always fun.
yeah.
Last year with Freddie Blitnikoff was a good time. So I'm glad somebody else stopped by. Another AFC player, by the way. So that's kind of interesting.
There you go.
I need to get NFC out there next year. See what we can get out there. But anyway, ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website. Digitaltodice.com. 978-751-DICE. Send us a text, a voicemail, and we may or may not play that on the show. I was texting somebody back and forth on the text line the other day. We were having a nice conversation. Digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. Over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to be a Patreon supporter and help us continue the show, patreon.com/digitaltodice. And again, our $5 members can jump into our Discord and chat with us off to the side. And we had some pretty good Discord discussions going on this week. And it's fun seeing what people are playing. We get a little bit more intimate in the Discord is what we do.
Yep.
Anyway, so that is that. Vin, thanks for coming back here on episode 279.
Thanks again. It's good seeing you.
All righty. And we'll talk to everyone next time. Bye-bye.